You were invisible while you stayed. Now that you're leaving, suddenly they remember your name. This isn't about love. It's not about care. It's about control. And the moment you stop being available is the exact moment your value becomes visible to people who never saw it before. This is why people only value you when you're about to leave. Human beings don't respond to presence. They respond to absence. You can spend years showing up, being consistent, being loyal, and none of it registers. But the second you step back, the second you stop reaching out, suddenly there's urgency, suddenly there's effort, suddenly you matter. This isn't coincidence. It's psychology. When someone has unlimited access to you, your presence becomes background noise. There's no scarcity, no fear of loss, no reason to pay attention. You become expected, familiar, replaceable in their mind. Even if you're not actually replaceable, they assume you'll always be there, so they stop treating your presence like something that could end. This is loss aversion in reverse. People don't protect what they think they can't lose. You felt this. You gave effort and got silence. You showed loyalty and got indifference. You were there when it mattered and no one noticed. Then you pulled back, not as a strategy, but because you were tired. And suddenly, the same person who ignored 50 texts responds in minutes. The same person who had no time suddenly has questions. The same energy you gave for free is now being chased. What changed? Not your value, their awareness. Here's what happens psychologically. When someone knows you're accessible, they don't assess your worth. There's no need, you're not going anywhere. But the moment they sense distance, the moment they feel like they might lose access, their brain recalibrates. The same effort they ignored now feels significant. The same presence they dismissed now feels important. Not because they suddenly care more, because they suddenly feel less control. This is called perceived replaceability. When you're always available, you feel replaceable. When you're not, you don't. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. The attention you get when you're about to leave isn't always real. It's reactive. It's not about valuing you. It's about not wanting to lose the option of you. There's a difference between someone missing your presence and someone missing your availability. One is connection. The other is convenience. People panic when they lose control, not when they lose connection. Think about the last time someone only reached out after you stopped reaching out. They didn't notice your effort when it was happening. They noticed your absence when it stopped. That's not love. That's not care. That's pattern disruption. You changed the dynamic, and their nervous system responded, not because you matter more now, but because the loss became real. This is how attachment works under pressure. People don't value consistency. They value uncertainty. And this creates a painful cycle. You give effort, you get ignored. You pull back, you get attention. So you come back, and the cycle repeats. Because the attention you received wasn't about you. It was about them regaining control. Once they feel secure again, once they know you're staying, the effort drops. You return to invisible. This is why some people only show up at the end, because the end is the only time they feel like they might actually lose something. You can see this in every relationship where effort was one-sided. The person who gave more was taken for granted. The person who gave less had the power, not because they were more valuable, because they were less available. Availability without boundaries doesn't create respect. It creates comfort, and comfort doesn't motivate effort. You were too easy to keep, so they didn't try. This is not about being cold. This is not about playing games. This is about understanding a simple truth. People respond to what they think they can lose, not what they think they already have. If you're always there, always understanding, always forgiving, always waiting, you train people to stop trying. You remove the natural tension that makes people act with intention. Effort without reciprocity teaches people you don't require reciprocity. So what do? You stop giving unlimited access, not as punishment, as protection. You stop being available every time someone remembers you exist. You stop explaining yourself to people who didn't ask questions when it mattered. You stop waiting for people to see your value while you're present. Because if they didn't see it then, their panic now isn't clarity, it's fear of loss. And you don't build your life around someone's fear. You pull back, quietly, without announcements, without drama. You stop initiating, You stop chasing. You stop making yourself smaller so someone else feels comfortable. And you watch. You watch what happens when you're not carrying the connection anymore. You watch who notices. You watch who adjusts. You watch who actually shows up when they can't take your presence for granted anymore. This is the test most people fail, because real value doesn't appear at the end. Real care doesn't show up only when someone's about to lose access. If someone only sees your worth when you're walking away, they never saw you. They saw utility. They saw convenience. They saw someone who wouldn't leave. And the moment that assumption broke, they reacted. That reaction is not the same as recognition. You don't owe someone your presence just because they finally noticed your absence. You don't owe someone patience just because they're uncomfortable now. You don't owe someone another chance just because losing you made them panic. People who value you don't wait until you're gone to act like it. They show it while you're still there. And if you've already reached the point where you're about to leave, and suddenly everything changes, suddenly there's effort, suddenly there's promises, pay attention. Are they showing up because they value you, or because they don't want to lose control? Are they changing because they see you differently, or because they're uncomfortable with the consequences? Those are two very different things. Real change doesn't happen in reaction to loss. It happens before the loss becomes necessary. If someone only adjusts their behavior when you stop accepting the minimum, that's not growth, that's damage control. And the moment they feel secure again, the moment they believe you're not going anywhere, you'll see who they really are. People don't change because you threaten to leave. They change because they decided to be different. And most people don't decide until it's too late. So you stop waiting for people to realize your value while you're offering it. You stop hoping people will wake up before you walk away. You start moving in silence. You stop announcing your boundaries and start enforcing them. You stop giving explanations to people who weren't asking questions. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your time. You reclaim the access you gave too freely to people who treated it like it didn't cost you anything, because it did. And they knew. They just didn't think you'd ever stop paying the price. This is not about revenge. This is not about making people suffer. This is about clarity, about seeing people for how they act, not how they react, about understanding that your worth doesn't increase when someone panics. It was always there. They just refused to see it. And now that they do, it's not your responsibility to stay and prove it. You don't owe anyone your presence as evidence. The people who value you won't wait until you're about to leave. They'll show you while you're staying. They'll protect the connection while it exists. They'll put in effort before the absence forces them to. And those are the people worth staying for, not the ones who only wake up when you stop showing up, not the ones who only see you when you're halfway out the door. You were never the problem. Your value never changed. What changed was your availability. And the moment you stopped being endlessly accessible, people saw what they were about to lose. But that's not your cue to return. That's your confirmation that you were right to leave. Because people who truly value you don't make you disappear to be seen. You don't need their validation. You don't need their late effort. You don't need their panic to confirm what you already knew. You were valuable the entire time. You just gave that value to people who didn't recognize it until it was gone. And now you know. Value isn't proven by how someone reacts when you leave. It's proven by how they acted while you stayed. Walk away with that clarity, and don't look back.